Hello, and welcome back to Running Behind. I'm Joey Metzger, your host and drill sergeant for the Back of the Pack. Today, my guest is Wes Cornett. And when I say we've got a lot of ground to cover, I'm talking Tor Des Geants. From his 20-year career in the Air Force as a special warfare operator that included tours in Bosnia and Afghanistan, to some of the lows of his life, including the death of his best friend, his struggles with PTSD, depression, mental health, and sobriety, and also some recent significant health challenges that affect his running and day-to-day life. But we also get to unearth many of the highs, including his discovery and love of trail running, his recent raffle ticket win to run the Western States Endurance Run, and the success of publishing his first novel. Whew, yeah, so if you're heading out for your run, well, you better grab the comfy shoes, tape your toes, and don't forget the poles, because there's a lot to learn about Wes, and it's time to hit the trail. So you were doing a TED Talk on Stranger Things?
Yeah.
That's the first thing I want to talk about. Tell me more. Are you a fan?
Yeah, I am. I give TED Talks on everything. That's why I call it my TED Talk. I just get going on something, and it started last night with my daughter and my wife, and I went into this crazy deep dive today with ChatGPT.
No way.
And
on Stranger Things, what was the gist of it? I gotta know. You've seen the finale, right? I don't want to spoil this.
Yep.
Okay, so people listening to this, if you haven't seen the finale, it's your own damn fault. Loved it. So what was your TED Talk on?
There was a bunch of buzz online that there's going to be a secret episode that was supposed to release tonight.
What?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
The conformity gate theory.
Okay.
The conformity gate. Because there's a lot of crazy videos on TikTok, and I understand where they're coming from, and there's a lot of ideas why. Because of, you saw the finale. Some things didn't seem right in the finale. They were just off, and so people theorized that we were watching Vecna's idea of how everything wraps up.
Oh, that is so interesting.
So that we would see another one that would be completely different. But I think I was giving a TED Talk on, I think when you're thinking that, you're kind of missing what the Duffer Brothers were trying to do all along, was to leave things ambiguous and unsettled, because much like our own reality, the whole show is based on the premise of this theory called conformity gate theory, which is an ideological theory where they say basically it's easier for people to conform than to point out differences, right?
Yeah.
And act like things didn't happen. Because if you think back, every season we started in Hawkins, it starts off normal. Like, nobody admits that anything happened previously.
Right, yeah.
It's never discussed.
Nope.
Amongst the core characters, of course.
Right.
But it's never discussed. And everybody's just like, happy day.
Yep.
Every time it resets, and you're like, what? I won't say it bothered me, but I always noticed that, and I always thought it was odd. But, they're kind of trying to tell you that that's how things happen. Because, and especially from the adults, that's why you saw Holly. I got to rewatching episodes after they introduced Holly, and if you rewatch it, you will see Holly was always there all along, pointing out things that were going on.
Okay.
It's very weird. And, because the theory is the kid's mind isn't corrupted yet, so they can still believe.
Yeah. Got it. That is so interesting. I know.
And, it's about being an outcast, right? And these kids were outcasts. And once you become an adult, you don't really want to outcast yourself. You just try to conform. And I think in the end, my theory is on the ending was, I think things were left ambiguous and to make us feel unsettled, right? And also because just like in real life, you and me, and most people, we don't know who killed John F. Kennedy, and we never will, right?
No, I know.
And that's kind of like, what they're trying to show is that in real life, some trauma goes unresolved, and you can't fix it, and some things are unknowable. And that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I love it. They did kind of make it a happy ending, quote unquote, but they did leave things unresolved, and I prefer that over don't make everything neat and tidy. As we're watching it, my wife, everybody's like, "Don't kill Steve." I'm like, they might all die. It's the final episode. You just gotta be ready for that. Steve. Yeah, we do love Steve and Dustin too. But yeah, as we were watching it, Wes, I was like, right away as we're watching it, I'm like, okay, the stone in the briefcase, where was he? He got that from somewhere. What's happening here? That's not getting tied up. So I was like, I was one of the first ones to go, at least of our little
Well, I
group.
actually think like they got this spin-off. I actually think they're going to end up addressing the Stone situation.
Okay. That's what I heard
Back
too.
in time.
A couple of
Yeah.
days later,
But
I
don't
heard
think
that
they're
that's...
going to ever address this story and what happened with 11 and the rest of the group. So,
And I'm fine with that. I think you and I
Yeah,
should start a
exactly.
Stranger Things podcast. There probably is.
oh yeah, I got more for you too. Anytime you're ready, because I will tell you before I get into tell you a little bit about myself.
Yeah.
I used to always tell people I'm from Pawnee, Indiana, which is Parks and Rec.
Yes.
But now I tell them I'm from Hawkins because I did grow up in a small town in Indiana,
God, I love
just
it.
like Pawnee
I
and
love it.
Hawkins. And I always say, I joke around that like it's a very, they kind of appropriated my childhood in Stranger Things
Yeah.
because I would have been Holly's age
Yep.
in Stranger Things, and
That's awesome.
just like the things that are happening there, it's just kind of crazy. And I grew up in a small town in Indiana, and it's just
So okay,
wild.
so before
It's
we
wild
get
to me a lot of it.
too far down the tracks, I have a little thing. If when I remember to do it, I like to start with a little icebreaker. Wes, we're already going. We've broken the ice, but what? Give me one word, Wes, that would describe you as a runner.
As a runner,
Yep.
I'm going to go with persistent.
I like it. That's good. That's good.
It's not always. It's definitely something I continue to strive for more than anything else.
Yep. Now give me one word that describes you, Wes, the person.
I guess a lot of people would say it, but maybe complicated.
Complicated. Very nice. I haven't gotten that one yet, and I know a lot of my guests are complicated, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of generic. A lot of people would say I'm charismatic.
Yeah.
But that's, again, part of my complication because it's only when I want to be.
Yeah. All right. So you grew up in Hawkins, Indiana. You were
More or
Holly's
less.
age. You know, I really related. My wife is younger than me. She's probably closer to your age. I don't know how old you are, but I grew up.
48.
I graduated in '86. So, dude, I'm watching Stranger Things,
yeah.
and I'm like, that's my music. My wife's like,
Yeah.
I never heard that song Running Up That Hill. I'm like, are you kidding? I was jamming out to that when I was a junior. I said, Kate Bush, I was all over her.
My wife is definitely a millennial, and so there was a lot of things like I'm trying to explain to her, like, no, that really happened. That's how it really was, and just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it was a kind of a different world.
That was one of my favorite things about the show was the 80s nostalgia and the music. And I want to actually talk music with you later on because I know you've got some really cool musical tastes and vinyl. We'll talk vinyl. So let's start at the beginning, Wes. I always ask people, I was not athletic as a kid. Did you do athletics as a kid? When did athletics start to come into your life?
So the very first thing I ever wanted to be was a professional race car driver. Okay, I grew up in Indiana.
Yes.
And
Who was your favorite driver?
Al Unser Jr. at the time.
Oh, nice. I was an AJ Foyt guy back in the day.
Yeah, I was an IndyCar guy at the time. I'm a NASCAR guy now, but
Okay.
So and after that, it became my hero, who I wanted to be when I grew up, was John Elway.
Oh, nice.
I wanted to be a quarterback like John Elway,
Okay.
and so that's what I did. I threw the football all the time. I grew up. I have two half brothers, but they're way much older, so I didn't grow up with them. I just had my mom and dad. We lived out rurally in the country, so I would just throw the football through a tire swing, occasionally with my dad, or sometimes with my neighbors. We would play games, and that's what I did a lot. And I always played in the woods and did all that stuff too, because we lived right there, and BB gun fights, throw rocks at each other, whatever, all that cool stuff you used to be able to do.
Yeah.
And I played Pop Warner football. And Yeah, I played Pop Warner football. Nothing is outstanding there,
Yeah.
that's for sure. I played in middle school, and I think it really dawned on me, especially I know it did my parents, and I just wasn't growing enough,
Yeah.
right? To do what I wanted to do, and I just a lot of it was my parents weren't really. I love my parents, so I'm not talking bad about them, but they were not really interested in like what I wanted to do sports wise. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They didn't want to. They actually didn't want to take me to practice, right? And my daughter and I are much different, which is because that's who I am. But like I raised her because she showed interest as an athlete, right? So I would train with her, work with her, help her along the way. But I didn't really have that growing up, and I just didn't know how to do that as a kid.
Yeah.
And so what's crazy is I'm just shy under 6 foot myself, and my dad's 6'5", I think.
Wow.
And everybody on his side of the family, I'm by far the shortest. It's not even close. And so I always thought I would grow to those quarterback heights. But my
Yeah.
mom's really short. My mom's like 5'3", so I blame her. But yeah, so I kind of lost that. And then I think that was really the only organized I did as a kid. But I played so much basketball.
Okay.
Again, Indiana. And I probably could have done something with basketball in high school, but I just didn't. I played like so much, like on the streets or whatever at the parks and stuff,
Yeah.
like all summer, all day. That's all I did was play basketball with friends or stuff like that. But yeah, nothing special for sure.
But you were active. You were doing sports. That's way more than I
I
did.
forgot I played soccer for a couple years too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, as I've said on many of my pods, I grew up in North Dakota, and my folks, were older. I was the youngest of 6 kids, and
wow.
they just never encouraged any sports or anything. They were
Yeah.
busy. My mom was tired. She had 6 kids. She's like,
Yeah, right?
go entertain yourself. And so,
Yeah.
me and my buddy, we play outside, and we go to the junkyard, and I was into nerdy stuff like Legos and science fiction and things like that. And sports was just never a thing as a kid for me. So I did a little bit, grade school basketball. There was only, so many kids in the class. So I played basketball. But dude, you're almost 6 foot. So you sprouted more than I did. My parents are both pretty short, and I stayed short too. So I'm behind you.
I guess never had that guiding light. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I was always what you would call athletic to
Yeah.
a degree, right? Same thing. I play outside. I rode bikes constantly. We wrestled.
Yeah.
Like really wrestle, watch, doing DDTs on each other and stuff.
Oh, geez.
and,
Were
and
you?
all that craziness.
I grew up watching the TBS wrestling. Is that the wrestling you watched? Yeah.
No, I watched. It's WWE now, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was WWF when I was a kid.
That was kind of after my time. In my time, it was
Yeah,
always
yeah.
the Ted Turner stuff on TBS. But I had a blast watching that. That was fun.
I grew up watching like Hulk, of course, Macho Man, and
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior.
Jesse Ventura,
Those
man, he's from Minnesota. He was our governor there for a hot minute.
Yeah, and the Navy SEAL,
And a Navy SEAL. That's right. That's right.
and a crazy guy.
And yeah, so you said Navy SEAL, Wes. I know being in the armed forces, being in the Air Force, was a huge part of your life.
Yes.
And I've heard this story you were on the other podcast that I pinged you about it. The Ostrich Running, I think is the name of it. And
Yeah.
great episode with those guys. You talked about how you got into the service. I would love for you to tell that story on how you got into the service and your time in there and how you eventually ended up in special operations.
Yeah, so a common theme in my life has been one, I'm impulsive, and two, I just never had maybe some guidance or stuff how to do things. And I think a lot of that came because my parents, again, they didn't grow up that way, and they didn't know like how to guide someone to get them to college and do these things. And so I was just a very random person, and I was in a town. I graduated high school. Actually, I started the process the year before I graduated high school. And the true story, this is a true story. I think I told it in the other podcast. I had just broken up with my girlfriend, right? The love of my life. My first serious girlfriend.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I was like a junior in high school. And just, the world was over, right? What are you going to say? And I realized the area I was in, I was going nowhere, right? And it was quite clear with my grades and everything, I wasn't going anywhere because I didn't care,
Yeah.
And so one day the recruiter called during all this. And, because they used to randomly call people and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll go on down there. Because I was kind of hungry. There was Taco Bell. They shared a parking lot with the Taco Bell. And, like Taco Bell in the 90s was where it was at, man, because you could get so much stuff for cheap.
Oh.
And like, so yeah, I go in there and I was probably the easiest sell in the world. And I'm like, yeah, sounds great. I'm going to go make some money. I can go get stationed somewhere and get out of here. And I had no direction in my life anyway, right? There was things I wanted to do, but again, I wasn't guided that way. And I just wasn't the person at that time I wasn't mature enough to really say, oh, okay, nobody's going to help me. I got to work this way to get what I want. And I didn't do that, and so I can say guidance, but I can also put some blame on myself. So I said, okay, cool, I'm going to do this. My parents were like, oh, sounds great. It was probably a lot off their minds to a degree because, we were a nation at peace at the time, of course. And
What year is this, Wes?
this is, so I went into the delayed enlistment in 94.
94. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, right in between.
Because I graduated in 95.
Yeah.
So I graduated. I went in like the next day, man, right after graduation. It was only a couple days between graduation and going in. Had to have a note from my mom because I was 17, so they had to sign the paper. Yeah,
God.
Yeah, they had to sign the paperwork. I turned 18 in basic training.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and man, it was an adventure at first. It truly was when I first joined because I had no idea. Where I grew up about 30 minutes northeast of Indianapolis, and in our area, there's no military. It's about as far as you can be in the continental U.S. without a military base.
Wow. Okay.
And so I had zero idea what to expect. I didn't have family that was prior service or anything like that. Nothing. All I knew was the recruiter and these other kids that were joining, right? So I had no idea. No idea.
Yeah.
I went through basic and I got recycled in basic because I couldn't fold or whatever it was. I can't remember. And, that doesn't happen a lot, but it happened to me.
What? Tell me about recycle. What does that mean? You had to go through it again?
No, you go back a week or you get held back a week, I guess.
Because you didn't do something right?
Air Force Basic at the time was 6 weeks.
All right.
Well, they have inspections on all this stuff, right? Because they're trying to teach you attention to detail and all this good stuff. And a lot of people were smart about it, because I was by far the youngest, but these other people would work together. That was the key. And to be like, hey, if you do this, I'll fold your underwear, right? Because you had to be so.
Yeah.
But if you make my bed, right? And I was always like, no, I'll do it myself, no problem. And yeah, I failed. And then
you didn't fold your underwear correctly.
I think it was T-shirts. Might have been underwear though, but I'm pretty sure it was T-shirts.
Oh God! Oh, you gotta love the military.
So I had to go back a week to another class, and I graduated basic. And when I entered, I came in open general, right? Because again, I was very impatient. They're like, well, if you wait a couple weeks, because I always wanted to be a radio DJ later in life, and I did it in high school.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, yeah, well, we can get you into broadcasting, but it's going to take a little while for it to open up. And I'm just like, nah, open general. So that's kind of where they give you a list towards the end of basic training, and you get to put like 3 things on there that the Air Force needs, and then they can make you do whatever. A lot of times people end up as cops in open general.
Oh, God.
That's how that usually works out.
Got it.
That's not how it worked out for me because I had a really high, what do they call that thing? ASVAB test score.
Okay.
And very low though in mechanical, so I didn't get stuck being a maintainer.
Yeah.
Which because they had this test, and you got all them gears and pulleys, and I'm like, I hate those things. I'm so confused.
Yeah.
So I got a list, and I said, "Oh, this weather guy. Okay, that sounds cool." I really did used to love watching the Weather Channel
Yeah.
as a teen, watching the hurricanes and stuff. I did. And I'm like, well, that sounds cool. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I went off to weather observation school at the time it was called, and you learned about how to report weather, and how it impacts aviation and different military effects and what they're looking for. And then one day a guy grabs me because, we had PT and everything, and he grabs me and he sits me down and he's like, hey, I have something you might be interested in. And he shows me this cool video, these guys jumping out of planes, driving dirt bikes, shooting stuff, like driving a dirt bike off the back of the plane. I'm like,
James Bond.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Sure.
And again, my life is just so random like this. And he's like, okay, cool. That's what you're going to do. So I graduated and I went to Fort Bragg, home of the airborne, North Carolina. And I became an Air Force guy that worked with the Army the rest of my career.
Okay.
So I was a ground pounder in the Air Force. There's a handful of us. And then, I had problems at first again. So just my first 3 years in the military were not pretty, right? I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I was just anything and everything I was messing up, right? And, and that's kind of like, well, drinking started a little bit before that, but that was where it was causing me problems. Yeah. Really, because this went on for a long time. We can talk about that later. But, I got arrested for a fake ID. I got...
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
I mean,
and
you're in the Air Force. You're could get shot and die, but you're not allowed to legally have a drink. And I know the drinking causes other issues later on, but that's still kind of crazy.
But in 97, I think it was, this was right before I got arrested, actually. I went to Bosnia. I did 4 months in Bosnia.
Yeah.
Very few people probably remember there was a conflict over there.
I remember.
And that was my first deployment. I was 19, I think, at the time. Yeah, and it was fun. Mm-hmm. I learned a lot. A funny story I tell about it was the first time I got shot at.
The first time, first time you got shot.
Yeah, the first time. God. We're walking down the city. We were providing kind of protection for this officer who was a Turkish linguistic officer. He was like one of the only ones in the military, and so he would go and speak with the Turkish, because they were in charge of the area we were in. Yeah. So there was only like 5 Americans on this base, and it was like to support this lieutenant, to talk to the Turkish army. And we were providing security for him, and hear gunshot, right? And I hear it crack and hit the wall behind me. And so this is funny because my first time, deer in the damn headlights.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I froze, and I'm just like standing there. And this Army guy that was working with the team on my team was like, he's like, get down, and shoves me down and pulls me around this corner.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, and come to find out, what's even funnier about this story is that, like, the person that shot us was really just trying to break into a car and saw people and and decided to pop off a couple shots.
What? Somebody jacking a car?
Yep, sure thing, because we were in town and we were in this little village in Bosnia.
Oh, God.
And not too far from like Sarajevo, and this guy was trying to jack a car, shot, I froze like deer in the headlights, man. And
I gotta imagine a lot of people would be like that. I don't care what kind of training you go through.
Yes,
no one's used to getting shot at. I've never been shot at. I can't even fathom that. So
it's not uncommon for people to freeze like that and do.
That's crazy.
So
you're in the Air Force. You're in the what's it called? Special Forces Air Force, or what was your?
Air Force is.
What do they call it?
It used to be called Special Tactics. Now it's Special Warfare.
Special Warfare, and you're How long did you stay in the Air Force? What year did you retire from the Air Force?
14.
2014. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So you were in there
Yep.
for a minute.
Yeah,
Is that Wes when you?
I got like a full retirement. Just shy of 20 because they
Okay.
had a special program.
Oh, okay.
So I got an early retirement by like 8 months is what it ended up being.
Okay.
So yeah.
Is that when you started running, or is that after the Air Force? When do you start
So
actually
obviously I
running?
did a lot of running in the Air Force, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Running from bullets
because-
from guys jacking cars. Well, not running,
Yeah, well-
standing there like a deer.
Yeah, exactly. But like, a lot of running for PT or whatever,
Yeah.
because we had higher standards than most and stuff. So I did. And running at that time for me was always great because it was the one thing I was quote unquote good at, in that I always say I worked in career fields and I worked with guys. And if you ranked us all, I would be at the very bottom, right? And because, a lot of the strength exercises, like, I was not my forte. And I never put in the work, to be honest. I was the type of person, even way back in high school or school period, where I got through things because of my innate kind of abilities.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like in school, I didn't do anything, but I take test A. Okay, no problem. And I was able to cruise through a lot of stuff kind of like that.
Yeah.
In my life. And same thing kind of there. And I never applied myself because I was drinking and I was a lot of drinking, right? That was a big deal. I didn't care, just partying, right? But to answer your question, yeah, so I started running there and I always liked that because it was an area where I was generally faster than most people. And at the same time, I could be by myself,
Yeah.
But when I first started truly running, I retired in 2015, Halloween 2015. Yeah, there was a massive change in my life that really shifted everything. I was living in Germany at the time with my ex-wife, my now ex-wife, and my daughter, and because she was a teacher over there. And I wake up November 1st, and I look at my phone, and I have like 100 unread messages and phone calls. And that's not good, right? If we see that when we wake up, we're like, uh-oh. And it came out that my best friend had committed suicide.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
On Halloween night, and it was 1 year to the day of his retirement from the military. And so that really altered things for me. It became a challenge because I know I'll get to how I got into running from that, but I'll try to be as quick as possible.
No,
but,
you take your time. This is
So, in short, I'd been dealing with a lot of things in my life, for a large part of my life, right? And I had a lot of unresolved things, right? And PTSD, depression, anxiety, all these, doctors say I'm bipolar or ADHD, everything, right, under the sun. And I never addressed that, right? Because at the time, you didn't do that in the military. You just told the docs what they wanted to hear so you could move on to the next kind of deal. And, and for the most part, I was okay. I drank a lot. I just did what a lot of people did. I just ignored it, right? Mm-hmm. I know, like, looking back now, it caused a lot of problems, especially in my first marriage and just relationships across the spectrum, because I could be very up and down, and a lot of that was from the stuff. But anyway, so I flew back to California because that's where he lived, and with his fiance, and I was there for a little while, and I just I was like trying to be the strong one, right? That's my role, that's my job, right? And it's very easy being from the military and just take that role up, right? So I went through that, and I came home, and I guess part of the thing I'm leaving out too is my ex-wife was actually friends with him before I even met him,
Wow.
Yeah, and he was my daughter's godfather, and it was just, yeah. So everybody was very hurt by this incident. And at the time, of course, I what I do, I made it about me as far as that was concerned, right? Um, so fast forward, maybe by the holiday season that year, I was really in a bad spot. Um, just to talk a little bit about alcohol, we can talk about it more later, but my thing was I was always a binge drinker. Okay. I didn't drink every day, but when I did, it was like blackout, right?
Yeah.
But I got to a point that Christmas in 2015 where having having him pass, having him commit suicide, it now seems so real to me as an option, right? That's the best way I can describe it. And now I don't want to say I never attempted, so I'm not saying I attempted suicide, but it became very real to me as an option for the things I was dealing with. And I did get to the point where I just, like I said, I'd never attempted it, but I didn't care. And by that, I mean I was like taking prescription muscle relaxers and pain pills for other things and drinking and just
Yeah.
like, not really, like I said, I didn't take a handful, right? But I didn't care,
You
you know
just
what I
didn't
mean?
care about the consequences of what the drink or the pills would do to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably part of me was probably hoping at that time that
Sure.
it would take care of itself, right?
Sure.
But I just didn't actively do it. So I went through a very dark period. Um, my ex-wife's like, "Oh, you need to call this number. You need to do this," and I'm like, "No, I'm fine, and I'll get through it." And I did for a little bit. I got a little bit better, right? But it kept becoming a recurring thing for the next couple months. And she would say something, and I'd be like, whatever, And but at the same time, it was getting worse.
Yeah.
I would start. I kind of. I was the boss at where I worked at the time, and it was very easy for me to like leave work early or not go to work. I mean, I could still get things done, take care of my team, but I could just check out. And I was doing that, and I would go home and just lay in bed all day.
Well,
You know, not crying, not depressed, but when you become like just completely numb,
yeah.
you know, or I would stay home and stay in bed all day, and then like wife would come home and she's like, "What's going on? Have you been here all day?" Like, "Yeah," you know. Um,
Wow.
so one day, I was actually getting ready for work, and she had left the number to the clinic, like in my dresser or something. I can't remember. And then she had actually called while I was getting ready. She's like, "You need to call the number, right?" So I did. I finally did. And they're like, "Okay," I told them a little bit what's going on. They're like, "Yeah, you should come down today. We'll talk to you." I would go into the clinic, and I go into behavioral health. This is on a military base um, in Germany. And, I tell them what's going on a little bit. And they're like, "Okay, do you mind if I walk with you over to this other clinic building to see an actual doctor?" Right? So they're like really concerned at this point, and I'm just like, whatever. I'm like, cool. So we do that. I sit down with this other doctor, and I'm being honest, okay, and I'm telling the truth on things. Well, damn near the truth. At that point, I was still kind of holding some things back, but
Yeah.
because I had done therapy before for like wedding or marriage, couples therapy,
Yeah.
and like in couples therapy, they told me I needed individual therapy. But to be honest, at that time, I could not care less. Not interested,
Yeah.
right? So I, and anybody who deals with mental health or addiction or anything and has gotten help and gotten better will tell you it's something you have to do.
Sure.
They can't fix you.
Yeah.
They can't fix you unless you're willing to share the truth and, work on
You
it
have to do
yourself.
the hard work. That's what I've heard.
You
too.
do.
You've got to do the hard
And
work.
you do. And up until that point, I never told the truth. I just, whatever, I just assumed they were all out to get me, right?
Yeah.
So I told this guy the truth, and he's like, "Well," Now, this is going to be funny. I have a very dark sense of humor. But I realized in that moment when he starts talking to me that I'm about to get the grippy sock vacation.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
no.
so I start like kind of backpedaling a little bit.
Yeah. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah. And I talked him down a bit until, I didn't go in-house. And so I started therapy, and then I started, doing different medications.
Okay.
Right. And another thing people tell you dealt with is you will go through so many different meds. It's crazy.
Sure.
And finding the right ones that work for you is an ordeal. It really, truly is an ordeal. And again, you have to be honest and truthful with people. And I just say that to anybody who's considering therapy or even goes to therapy. Give them the truth, man. It became a game to me in therapy, giving the truth, right? I've seen memes about it, but before the memes came out, I was like, oh, I'm winning therapy because the looks I would get from my therapist at times when she'd ask me a question, I answered truthfully. She's like, what? Because she'd be like, well, how many times did you get shot at on this deployment? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, was it once a month? I was like, every day. What do you want? She's like, wow. What? Like, how much did you drink? And one of the ones was, how much did you drink? And I go, I had about 18. And she's like, oh, in a week? She's like, that's not good. I was like, no, that was one night.
That's one night.
Yeah, so gosh. Like I used to do, that's how bad I was. I would keep like straws if I had a mixed drink or the bottle caps in my pocket so I could count them out.
Oh my God, Wes. Oh God.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's discounting pregame. But yeah, so, and it became a game to me kind of in that way, in a good way, I think.
In a good way. Yeah.
Because I was actually coming forth and telling the truth on things.
Yeah.
And we worked through that process. And so my therapist, I'm getting to the running.
Oh, that's fine.
So my therapist, yeah. So my therapist is like, you've been an active guy, maybe you should look into something else to help along, and I said, well, I've always wanted to run a marathon.
Oh.
And so this was maybe April, May-ish. Yep. And in October that year, I ran the Munich Marathon.
Nice. Wow, that's pretty quick. You start running in May, and you're already doing the marathon that fall.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't pretty. And, again, I will go back to the drinking. I was not doing my training wholeheartedly because I would just...
You're still drinking at that point. You're doing
I'd
therapy, you're starting to run, but you're still doing the drinking at that point, right?
Yeah, I stopped the drinking a little bit at first because they told me I couldn't, and it slowly morphed.
Yeah.
Into like 1 or 2 to back to the Old West, right? And so I would miss training because I would be hungover or whatever the case, right? So I run the Munich Marathon. I got about 5K to go, and I'm in bad shape. I think about mile 21 was when mile 20, 21, somewhere in there is when I really hit the wall. And I probably went out too fast, rookie move, right? And I was feeling good, but yeah. So I get to about 5K left, and my daughter, my ex-wife are there, and my daughter, and I'm just like, I'm done, I'm like, telling her, I'm done. I don't even know. I'm finishing this thing. And so my daughter decides she's going to hop in and run with me.
Yeah. Which
you're not allowed to do, but she did anyway. And she's about 12 or 13 at the time. And so we run the last 5K with me. I mean, she goes on to be a great runner in high school and cross-country star. And she's already ran a marathon.
Wow.
And she's 22, so.
Wow.
She runs with me last 5K. And much like Western States, you end on the track in the Olympic Stadium.
Oh, okay.
In Munich.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you're running into the stadium, and I look over at her, and I'm like, I am never doing this again. And because she's telling me to run, she's like, you only got like 200 meters left. And I'm like, I don't give a shit, man. Like, my watch had already went over because I'm sure from the ultra world, you're like, this says 32 miles. Why am I still out here running? You get so frustrated and angry. And that's where I was, man. And I finished, and yeah, it was like 4.5 hours, I think. And
Yeah.
yeah, I finished. I did say I was never going to do it again. A couple months later, I was like, but I want to run a bit faster. So I signed up and did a half
Okay.
marathon, another road one. And I was really proud of that effort. I did really well. And then, and after that, I was fine more or less after that, right?
Yeah.
Because after my first marathon, I was toast, man. And the biggest insult, this is crazy. So you finish in that track, and it's the Munich Olympic Stadium,
Yep.
where they hold the opening ceremony. And you have to walk your butt up the stairs out of the stadium to get out of there.
Oh no.
Like a full stadium.
What? They
Yes.
make you walk up the stairs after you ran a marathon?
Yes.
Oh god.
Yes. Yeah, it was absolutely torture.
That's horrible.
Because later I would see Paul McCartney there, Guns N' Roses, like it's a real big stadium,
Yeah.
and like you're just like, I gotta walk out of here. Like this is crazy.
Okay.
And I was never so miserable in my life. But yeah, so then I ran another road marathon. We moved houses in Germany to a more rural place, and that's kind of where I got to trails, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is 2017 probably by now? 2018?
Yeah,
2017?
ish. Yeah, 2016, 2017.
Okay.
And yeah, and I'm running trails, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I was really enjoying it. I had been on trails. I've been on AT in the military doing things, but like, if you don't know this, the military will make anything that's cool and fun terrible. Right? Like jumping out of airplanes, they can make it miserable for you. Trust me. Right?
I did that once. I had a bad landing. Never again. So.
But yeah, they can make that whole deal terrible. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
With a lot of things. But so I got into that, and then that's when I started really reading about like trail running and ultras, because I never really knew about it, to be honest. And I started reading about trails and ultra marathons and all that good stuff, and I'm like, oh, cool, I want to do this. So I did my first real trail marathon. I did a couple like that were called trail, but they kind of weren't. It was like gravel, kind of those type of deals.
Yeah, yeah.
And I did my first one on like one of my favorite places on planet Earth. It's a island of Mallorca off the coast of Spain.
Oh, you were at
And-
Mallorca? Oh, wow.
Well, that's why I ran my first like real trail race.
Yeah, that's supposed to be beautiful.
It is. It's an amazing place. And
Wow.
yeah, so I went down there. It was like a mountain trail race. You ran up this mountain, but I only did the half marathon.
Okay.
They had a full, and I think 100K at the time. I did the half, right? Because I didn't know what I was getting into. And I just wanted to finish it. And I did. And it was super awesome and great. And I saw the biggest change for me was the mentality of folks. In the road game, if you run road marathons, road races, there's a way more focus on my time,
Yes.
on your time. And I'm sure at the top end, of course, of our sport, right, those elites, they care about time.
Sure.
And want to be elites. And people that are training hard, right, they obviously care about. But a great majority of us, I hate to lump you in with me, but great majority of us are not out there chasing. We're chasing cutoffs, right? We're not chasing.
I am a cutoff chaser. Yes, I am.
We're not necessarily chasing PRs, right?
Right.
We're chasing cutoffs.
Yeah.
And so that whole, I always like to say I'm not out here for a good time. I'm out here for a long time. But
I like it.
the whole mentality shift was so much cooler. Like, I knew people that I was friends with, still friends with, that would run road races, but they say that truly believed if you did not run every step, you're not a runner.
Okay.
You're
Yeah,
not allowed
I
to
don't
walk.
like those people, Wes. I don't like those.
Yeah, but there's people like that, and that's their
Yeah.
mindset when it comes to that stuff. And
Yeah.
thankfully, in the trail community, we don't have that at all, right?
Nope.
Even the elites walk at times.
Yep. I'm giving
And-
my first public speaking gig tomorrow, and it's at a running store in Minnesota,
Cool.
and the topic is trail running, and I'm focusing a lot of what I'm saying on a lot of what you're saying. The fact that
Good.
running is a wonderful community, but in trail running, it's this team sport. It's that trail culture.
It really
it's
is.
this
And
loving, compassionate. Everybody's looking out for you. I
Right.
mean, despite even the people at the front, we're all looking out for each other. Yeah, love it.
Right. You even see like one of the greatest things I like because I'll watch like the live streams from Mountain Outpost of some of the big races, and you see elites come back to the finish line,
Yeah,
like of Cocodona on day 3 or whatever, to welcome people in and just
yeah,
stuff like that, and as you know, when we're out there in a ultra and you're out there for so many hours, you know, it's like you talk to people, you try to help them through tough points.
yeah,
I've given people batteries, I've given people a headlamp, like all kinds of stuff, right?
yeah,
And and that's just
yeah,
it's more enjoyable, I guess.
yeah. Okay,
And
so
maybe I'm just
no,
getting old and slow too. So
well, I'm getting old, but I've always been slow, just getting slower. So you start trail running. What's your first like ultra marathon trail race? What year is that? And I was going to ask too, is have you stopped? Like, was there a point? I know you're sober now. Was there a point,
Mhm.
or was there an event or something, Wes, that said, "That's it. I can't. I just cannot have another drink." Is there something that triggers that?
um, well, let me give you a little backup.
Yeah.
So I was trail running, but then right as the pandemic time frame hit, I went through. Um, I was off meds at the time. I went through, I guess, a breakdown of sorts, and one of my dreams had always been, even before this, was to hike the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
Do hike the Appalachian Trail. I always wanted to do that. And I just kind of like, I was still married, and things between us had always been not terrible, right? It was just, we were, we lived in the same house
Yeah.
and everything. And, we didn't argue, but it just was it, and my daughter was graduating, and me and her are like Rory and Lorelai from Gilmore Girls. And, like best friends, and I panicked and I was like, I got to do something. And I just melted down. I was having, still unresolved stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Still unresolved stuff. And I still drinking, right? And that's a huge piece of it because when I drink, I was very impulsive. I was making bad decisions and a lot of things I was doing I shouldn't be doing, right? And I was had a breakdown. And I saw the pandemic, and it started, in Europe and Asia more before America, right? Yeah. And I was like, man, I got to get the hell out of here. So I'm like, I'm going to go back and hike. And wife was like, okay, cool. I know that's what you wanted, and this would be a good time. So I booked a flight, and I hung out with my friends for a couple of days in Germany, in Kaiserslautern. And fun fact, I was on the last Delta flight that left Europe before they shut down operations.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's crazy. So I flew back. My parents now live in Kentucky, and so I stayed with them for a while. 'Cause then the pandemic really hit, and I'm like, well, shit, I can't even hike now because, all these logistical problems. How am I going to get there, and everything? So I'm staying with them, which is not ideal, and and I'm dealing with stuff, and we didn't see eye to eye on some things.
Yeah.
I'm kind of dealing with a lot of my own stuff at the end of the marriage, just where I was and what I was doing. And during the pandemic, of course, like a lot of people, I drank all damn day. And I would like FaceTime or Zoom or Skype with my friends and just get drunk. And we would get drunk on Skype or whatever all day.
Yeah.
And, and we didn't see eye to eye, man. And like finally I said, well, I can't do this shit anymore. So it was like early May. I started the Appalachian Trail in early May of 2020. That's very late because most people start February, March,
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to hike, and it may not work out, but I'm going to be grateful for every day that I have out here. And for the first time in my life, I really did that. I really was displaying gratitude like every day, And it was crazy because I did the first 100 or so miles on the AT, Appalachian Trail. I never saw another person on trail. I would go into town for resupply or what, and stuff, and see people there, of course, but on trail, never saw because nobody was out there. And but at the same time, I had some of the most fun of my life, just bebopping down the trail, man. And And I got to the Smoky Mountains, then I met folks, and I continued to hike, and I ended up meeting my now wife. It's a long story, and I actually didn't finish because I went up to Maine to start coming, because I got in Virginia. It was so hot, it was miserable because it was midsummer, and to me Virginia's boring, and so the northern terminus is in Maine, Mount Katahdin, and who is now my wife and her friend, they were driving up there to start hiking south because she had a dog and the dog was getting too hot, and I'm like, and I just kind of knew them through friends of friends. I didn't really know them, and they're like, "Oh, you want to ride up there?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So we drive up there, and Maine is flipping amazing.
Love Maine.
So so it just totally changed everything for me. I just loved it so much, and it's a little bit cooler, And then you go through Maine, you go into Vermont, you got the White Mountains, and it's just amazing, amazing. And lo and behold, I end up getting Lyme disease.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah. So I finished maybe 200 miles short because somewhere in Pennsylvania I stopped and I had to get back to Virginia because I had Lyme's disease, and that's just miserable. Don't ever do that. Don't ever get Lyme's disease. But so and then things continued on with Elise, that's my wife now, and I still wanted to run an ultra. I had planned it previously, never got it done, and then I finally did it in 21 maybe, 21 or 22.
Okay.
Yeah, I finally got it done. I ran a 50K, and man, it wasn't as near as hard as I thought. I enjoyed it. I smoked a cigarette in it during it, so I was still smoking then too. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
So that's when I first finished one, 21 or 22, in Lake McMurtry, 50K. I still try to run it every year just because.
Okay.
It's in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And that was my first one. That's the sobriety thing still wouldn't come for maybe another year. So I'm about 3.5 years sober now.
Okay.
Yeah, so I ran my first 50K before stopping drinking.
Got it.
And to answer your question, it wasn't a singular event as much as I saw a pattern in my own life, right? And I know the person I was and things I did and who I was previously, and I saw the same path was going to happen. And my Elise was drinking too, but she's doesn't have a bigger problem with it as me,
right?
But I was a bad influence on her, and so we would have arguments, disagreements, whatever, and just and at this time too, I'm 40 something years old. Like I always thought I would grow out of this,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I thought that, because my parents are alcoholics, but they're alcoholics in a different way. They're an everyday, all the time person.
Really?
Right?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But they weren't, nothing like me, where I'm just like black out and see if we get arrested or whatever happens, right?
Yeah.
So I always thought I'd grow out of it, but of course I never really did, and you go from that point where you become, there's a song from the Menzingers that talks about it, and I love it because the quote is like, there's a guy in the bar that, younger me would have hated, right?
Yeah.
So you become this young guy that used to party and make fun of the old guys at the bar, right? Yeah. But now, I've always been a fun guy. I always attracted people a lot of attention, and I was always the party guy and everything. But then you start to realize that people are not laughing with you anymore, right? They're laughing at you now.
Yeah.
You become the joke. And so that was part of it. And part of it was I didn't want to repeat any of the things that had happened in my previous marriage with Elise. And that was really what I thought I needed to do. There was just so many aspects. I tried cutting back. That wasn't for me. I couldn't do it. I was an all or none, right?
Yep. I get that. I hear that.
Yeah.
So you did.
So, I just.
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
I just had to quit.
Yeah.
So I had to quit, and I got back in therapy, and I tell people this, and everybody's got their own journey to walk, and I will advise anyone that's dealing with mental health issues, you cannot be serious and really take care of yourself if you still have alcohol in the picture. But yeah, it rewires your thinking. Because it took me, this is going to sound crazy, I'd read it before and it happened to me. It took me a good year and a half, almost 2 years, to realize a lot of things that happened in the past and why they happened.
Yeah.
You know, decisions I made and things I'd done and been like, have this great awakening finally.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I'm not trying to preach at people, but if you really want, if you suffer with some mental health condition, you really need to stay off the alcohol. I don't know about the other drugs. I was never a huge user of the other things. They just don't work for me in the way I need them to. So I just never really messed with them that much.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about Western states. We're going to talk about Lewy body dementia too, because I have some questions about that, and I've got.
Let's do that one first.
You want to talk about that first? So
yeah, I do.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're trail running now. You're doing 50 Ks, 100 Ks. Okay. At some point, you get diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. When does that happen? What are the symptoms that led up to that? What is that process like? How did that come about, Wes? What's happening that made you get that diagnosis?
So this is crazy. This came about last spring, summer, I think. And I was seeing this doctor because it all started crazily. Like I tripped and I fell and I was having falling issues and I have a lot of dysautonomia stuff and just a bunch of crazy symptoms going on. They told me it was fibromyalgia. They told me this, blah, blah, blah. And so my primary care refers me to the dang geriatrics. No kidding. And I thought it was hilarious. And I'm just like, okay, so I go to geriatrics. This doctor, this is his diagnosis, right? This is what he thinks. And one thing I haven't, really put out there yet, and I will someday, is just, one, I wanted to back off of the Lewy body for a while too, because I don't want it to be a victim. And at the same time, now I see another doctor and they're like, no, I don't think so. I think it's coming from, it could be, some of it could be like leftover Lyme's disease, because that can affect you for the rest of your life.
Oh, okay.
And another piece is I've had many concussions.
Okay.
And traumatic brain injury. So I suffer from headaches and migraines and a lot of stuff. And that's what my current doctor thinks. He's like, no, I don't think it's Lewy body because he's
really?
Still on the I'm too young. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's still on the I'm too young. And it's like a lot of my effects from migraines and just problems in my brain because I've had so many head hits,
Right.
Because I display a lot of dysautonomia. Like where things that should work without us thinking about don't work. Okay. Always with me.
Yep.
Like the big one people always talk about is POTS, right? When you stand up and people pass out because they lose blood pressure. Yep. That happens to me on occasion. One of my biggest ones that drives me crazy is they say it's part of the dysautonomia, is that my dang eye glands don't work right. So I deal with crazy dry eye, yeah.
Oh, geez.
And I just love wearing my contacts, but I can only wear them like once in a great while. Yeah, so that's something. You probably can't tell on this, thank goodness, but like the past couple of weeks, about this last week, I've had a lot of problems with my left eye, but yeah, and just kind of crazy stuff like that, and just I can't swallow. There's been times where I couldn't swallow.
Huh. Wow.
It's the craziest feeling in the world. It's funny because you're like sitting there and you're like, damn it. Like when you actually try to think about how to swallow, you can't do it, because we do it automatically. It's kind of funny, actually. Yeah. I did have some hallucinations, a couple. But again, they say that can be part of the migraine thing, sure. Or just your brain gets hit. I've dealt with a lot of mental health issues and a lot of head trauma.
Yeah.
And things they say can fire wrong. And so that's kind of where we're at on
Okay.
that.
So now they're
So
not
I've kind
they're
of-
not thinking Lewy
yeah.
body dementia anymore.
Yeah, it's just I could be like
Okay.
going brain dead. I don't know, CTE.
Well.
I guess.
Okay, so that's not good. But
Be like one of those NFL players who goes crazy. But no, in all seriousness,
it's got to
I tried
affect
to
your
put it-
running and stuff, though, right? All these symptoms,
It does.
whatever's causing
It does.
it's got to affect you. And you're training for some pretty big race, and you just did a 100-mile race last year, right? How is it affecting you with your
and I
trainings
just
and your
did
running?
100K like in November. Yeah, I did
Yeah, I
100K
saw
in
that.
November. No, I did 100K in December. I just did it.
Yeah.
What am I talking about? Dinosaur Valley. Yeah, so it can be problematic. I have 3 times I've passed out on trail, not in a race, but on trail by myself.
Wow.
And I just wake up and I'll be like, I told Elise, I'm like, yeah, somewhere like Thunderbird, I just kind of got myself off the ground.
Does she get scared to death when that happens? She's got to be
A little
terrified.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she finds me wandering through the woods. But now I have a setup on my Garmin and my phone where like 3 people get alerted
Okay.
if something happens. And so, yeah, that happened. And then one day I had tripped, hit my head, okay,
Yeah.
running, and I came to my knee, right?
Yeah.
And you just kind of always want to bounce up and get back going, right?
Yeah.
Let that adrenaline hit and like, let's walk it off, right? Run it off.
Run it off, walk it off. Yeah.
So I kind of like did a flip, and I think I hit my head somewhere,
Oh God.
right? Yeah, or whiplash is what the doctor said. And I came to my knee, and I start to get up from my knee, and I immediately go down again. And I'm out. I don't know how long. I don't think it was long.
Yeah.
And I get back up, and I'm like, okay, I had like a mile and a half back to my truck in the woods, and I'm feeling a little woozy. I'm not going to run it back, but I'm like, okay, I don't need anybody, so I walk back the trails to my truck. I think I did text Elise on the way, and then like she was home or something. I was like, no. Or no, she was at work, and then like a little later, she's like, okay, where are you now? And I'm like, oh, I'm at like I stopped at the gas station to get like a Monster and some Zen. Like, and she's like, what? You drove home? Because it's about 20 minutes away.
Wes.
And I'm like, yeah, man. Like, it wasn't the best idea because I was not feeling well at all at that point. And I ended up in the ER that night. Because it got way worse. I really was suffering from a lot of concussive symptoms.
Wow.
My anxiety, I thought I was having a heart attack. My head just hurt. This is crazy. I lost my mind that night in a way I'd never had before.
Wow.
I lost like my composure.
Wow.
And I just completely morphed into somebody who was just out of their mind and stuff, and
That's horrible.
but like it took me a good week or two to really kind of come back to normal.
Wow.
Like one day I thought it was, I went out and ran, and then trash, and then it was good times. I'm one of those people now where if you could tap me on my head half the time, I'll go half black. That's how.
Wow. That bad.
Yeah. So
How are your?
I don't know how many falls I got left in me.
Yeah, dude, be careful. And that's the thing with ultra running too, is the longer we go, the more tired we get. I don't have all those issues, and I'm a horrible runner. But the more tired I get, the more I have to concentrate on picking up my feet because I'm going to trip over a damn tree limb or something. How are your symptoms today as you're getting ready for your big race this summer? How is your training and your symptoms? Have they gotten better? Are they maintaining, or where are you at?
I'm about normal, maintaining, I guess.
Okay.
I take like one pill is for your cognitive.
Okay.
It's supposed to help because I have a lot of short-term memory issues too, and you know how we all every once in a while will walk into a room and be like, "What am I doing here?" Mm-hmm. That happens to me more times than it doesn't happen to me, and I'm just like standing there like, "What are we doing?" What we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Or I get distracted, but that might be ADHD. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I take that, and the way I look at it now, honestly, is it doesn't matter. I could have brain cancer. It doesn't matter because if it's Lewy body, if it's migraine, if it's my brain, CTE, whatever, right? Because of traumatic brain injury and stuff. To me, I'm of the mind now. It doesn't matter what it is, right? But you gotta, find ways to work around.
Yeah.
And because what if it is something serious and you don't have that time anymore, And that's one thing I learned through the Lewy body discussion and everything was like, I could, the timeline for me could be shorter than what I maybe think, right? And you're like, okay, so there's things I want to do and I got to do it now while I can,
Do it now.
right?
Yeah.
And get to it when I can. And as far as like the running, I just take it day by day,
Yeah.
Some days I don't feel great. Some days I don't feel great afterwards.
Yeah.
It's never really happened to me in a race. So I've always been kind of, actually, I kind of had some issues when I did this race called Palodero Canyon, which is just south of Amarillo. And I got real hot and it just wasn't my day to begin with. I couldn't control my breathing and just, a lot of stuff like that. But in that day, I will tell you this, I learned a lot because it was only a 50K, but I learned so much more than I probably learned from other races because it really changed my mindset that day. Now, I'd finished a 100-mile previous to this and a 100K previous to this, but I've actually had like three 100-mile DNFs.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Before I finish a 100-mile, yeah.
Okay.
And one was I had no business, right? The first one, I had no business doing what I was doing. The second one was I really thought I had it.
Yeah.
I felt really good going into it.
Yeah.
I think I lacked my nutrition and hydration.
Yep.
And I didn't have the mental fortitude at the time when it comes to running to get through that. So it got me at like the 100K point.
Yep.
And I passed out and right in front of the race director. That was a hilarious story because my friends, my wife, and my good friend and my daughter were there. My daughter had just paced me, and you come to the start finish at the 100K before you go out on another loop to finish your 100-miler.
Right.
And I'm out of it, man. I haven't been drinking, I haven't been eating, and I'm just out of it. And I had given up. I know now, looking back, I had given up mentally.
Yeah, you were done.
Right. I'd thrown the towel in mentally.
You were done.
And so I was just like letting myself succumb to this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, I don't feel good. I can't, everything's about to pass out, And so they're like, okay, well, my daughter Veruca was supposed to go back out with me, but she's like, well, if he falls, I can't carry him. So they decided my friend's going to go with me, Dan, because I'm pretty much just walking at this point anyway. And he's a burly guy, and he's like, okay, cool. So he's like, let me run back and grab something. So they propped me up against a tree by the start-finish line, literally. And I think my AirPod fell out. Yeah, my AirPod fell out. And I go to pick it up off the ground, and
you're done.
and I crash, and the race director's right there. She pulls up a chair. She's like, he's done. So by the time they came back, she had me in the chair, and no, he's not going back out. I was ready to cut off anyway, but I'd mentally succumbed. But what I did learn in that Palodero was I learned to go, okay, this isn't the day I wanted, because I thought I was going to go out there and smoke it, and it just really kind of went south. But I know if I just keep going, I'm going to finish, right?
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yep.
I'm going to get done, and I'm going to walk through this hot-ass canyon, and it was, and it sucks, but if I just keep going, I'll get done. It's going to take me way longer, and you just kind of learn. I learned in that to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Just be okay and be like, let it go. I'll get there when I get there,
Got it.
And, and that's just the way I kind of approach things now. Same thing with Dinosaur Valley. I wasn't really trained for that 100K. And it was way more technical than I thought it was going to be. Way more. It was kind of a pain in the ass. But but again, I didn't have many problems that day. But it's just, I just like, okay, I'm just going to go out here and I'm going to get through it one loop at a time. And, I may not finish when I want to finish, right? And I could be out here till 3 a.m, but whatever. We'll get it done, And I felt that mind shift when it comes to ultra running, different approach.
Speaking of races with hot canyons, I want to talk a little bit about it. I want to be respectful of your time. There's a couple more things. We got to talk your book. I got my copy yesterday, Wes. I ordered it. I'm going to be reading it, and I think that's super. I'm super proud of you for doing that. I have a friend that also published, and it's exciting. But I want to talk about this hot canyon race you're doing this summer. Yeah. When did you hear about the Western States Endurance Run? When did you first hear about that, and when did it become kind of a target race that you wanted to do?
I can't, I really can't honestly remember when I first learned about it. It would have been not terribly long ago,
Okay.
We're talking maybe 21 or something, I just wasn't. Maybe I did see it before when I was researching ultras. I couldn't really tell you. But what I can tell you was when I started watching these live feeds from races.
Yeah.
Okay, and I watched a documentary Sally McRae had made.
Yes. That's Billy Yang's film. I got to meet him, by the way, this year.
Oh, did you? Yeah, he does a lot of that stuff.
He was out at Mammoth Trail Fest. I started crying, and then he gave me a hug. It was really sweet. But
yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So it was like a combination of Sally McRae, because I've been a fan of her for a long time.
Yep.
And just watching the live streams and seeing this, and I'm like, I grew up in Indiana, and my whole life when I was stationed in the military was always in the southeast U.S.
Okay.
I have very little experience west of the Mississippi.
Okay.
Right? I mean, I live in Oklahoma now, which is west of the Mississippi, but like truly west of the Mississippi is just like a whole new world to me. Like Arizona, California, and so I was just like, wow, that looks so cool. Like Cocodona, I'm just like, that's so awesome. I want to do that just because I want to go there.
Yeah.
And I idealized it, right? That's what we do.
Yep.
And it was also, when you're new and you're learning things about this, it's like, oh, everybody wants to run Western States. That means I got to want to run Western States.
Yeah.
Too, right?
Yeah.
And there's a part of that. And I'm like, okay, I want this big once-in-a-lifetime chance.
Yep.
And I got luckiest of the lucky. I got into the raffle.
Tell me about, because I had not heard of the raffle until I started following you, and then I listened to your pod with those guys, and I was like, I didn't even know about the raffle. Tell me about it. What is it?
I randomly learned about it one day, and it was about a week before they were taking entries that year for the raffle.
Yeah.
Okay, this was like July. No. It may be May or June. Yeah, it was May or March. It's early in the year.
Yeah.
Okay, because they announced the winners at that Western States.
Okay.
So my name was announced at the 2025 Western States.
Oh, God.
That would be running to 2026. So you pay I want to say it depends on how many tickets you buy, but I think it starts at $5 a ticket and goes to $3.50 if you buy so many.
Yeah.
And I bought myself some, my daughter bought me some, and my wife bought me some.
Yeah.
And I don't know who's won. That's what I really want to know, is who's actually won. I'm guessing my daughter. She's a pretty lucky person.
Okay.
And but yeah, so that's how I got in. And I watched the live feed this year, and they had this gentleman who wanted to run, and he was like 70 something, and that's how he got in that year.
Oh, you're kidding.
Because then he goes on and he's talking to, I can't remember who was hosting at the time, and he's telling him, I hate to admit this, but I got into the raffle, and so yeah, that's how I got in.
Through the raffle. And because the odds of
once you get in through the raffle, the other piece of that is, I'll tell people, go research the raffle, because the money is a charity. It goes to a charity. It goes to the Trail Fund, the Western States charity.
Yep.
And they draw 5 people. And you buy these tickets,
Yeah.
and you like a 50-50 raffle, and they draw you. That's how I got drawn. But you still have to have had a qualifier.
Okay. You have to have run a 100-mile or 100K race that qualifies you to run Western
Yes.
States, right?
Well, you have to do it within the year you are
Within the
selected.
year. Okay.
I had already done mine.
Okay.
But I'd already done long haul. But yeah, you have to do it within the year you were selected.
Wow.
So if you do get drawn and you haven't run one yet, then you better get to it real quick before the year ends to run your actual qualifier. But you do, still have to run a qualifier. So that's how I got in. And
That's
now I'm
crazy.
just like, it is crazy. And I never dreamed, right?
Because it's so hard to get in.
It is.
I don't know what the
I-
odds are, but I know it's just so tiny. to get in. Yeah.
In all honesty, when I'm being really real with it all, I'm just like, I kind of feel bad in a way.
Why do you feel bad?
It's almost like an imposter syndrome because you're like, I don't really deserve this. There's people out there with 124, 200 tickets that didn't get in. And I got in because I ran one qualifier and I got lucky in the raffle. I've run 2 qualifiers now, but it doesn't matter. But, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why do I get this?
Yeah, I look at it differently, Wes. You're listening to your story tonight and what I know of you, I can't think of somebody more worthy. I interviewed, you probably haven't listened to many episodes of my pod, but two episodes ago.
Quite a few.
Did you? I interviewed, did you hear the one with Neeraj Egbert? He's the guy
I've seen parts of it, yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy who last year came in the first one after the cutoff.
Yeah,
and
I saw that. I watched it live, and he gets a free entry this year.
He
right?
got a free entry. He's the first time they did that. The Golden Hour Award.
What company was it? I remember.
Man Against Horse.
Yeah, and I watched.
I'll shoot you a link on Instagram. You can follow them. They're awesome. They respond to everything.
That is so cool.
But he was the same way, Wes. He was like, I don't deserve this. I did the interview with him. He's an immigrant from India, just this humble, graceful, respectful guy. And I'm like, no, you absolutely deserve it. So sometimes fate just knows. I
especially think he deserves it because he was so close. He proved he's got the chops.
Oh, yeah. He was within 2 minutes. And he was having a bad day. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, with that being said, I also have now put a lot of pressure on myself to go out there and give everything because I feel like it's one of those situations. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? And a lot of people would, love to have that opportunity. And 2, I kind of feel like it's such a historic thing that you owe it to the course to prepare the best you can and give everything you have, and you owe it to the other runners who didn't get in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's the way I look at it. I look at so many people who run ultras for years and haven't gotten into Western States, and I get this opportunity, so I got to give everything I have in getting ready, and on the day I go out there because, that could have been somebody finishing their dream.
Yeah. That is awesome. I'm super excited for both of you. I'm going to be watching closely.
I got a professional coach.
Nice. Who'd you get to coach?
And she has run it several times, and she was just inducted into the Ultra Running Hall of Fame.
What? Who's your coach?
Yeah, Megan Canfield.
Oh wow!
And
okay,
yeah,
nice.
I found her doing a bunch of searches, and then I read up on her, and I went into her ultra sign up. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, don't quote me on this 100%, but at 60 or something, she finished in the top 10 overall at Western States.
You're kidding. What? What year was that?
I cannot remember, but this lady is amazing. She's amazing. And, and when I first talked to her, I was very honest with her. I'm like, I told her kind of what I told you. I was like, I just don't know if it's possible for me to do it because I'm leaving medical stuff out, but just where I live, where I don't live in Colorado. I don't live in California, right? Yeah. I don't, and I've been in the mountains, sure, but I've never had a big experience running, racing in the mountains.
Right.
And she's like, and I talked to her a lot about that, and she's kind of helped me, work through that and things we can do and just go from there.
Wow.
So
that's exciting. Exciting stuff. Well, maybe you'll get to meet Nurich when you're there. I have no idea. But
Yeah.
the other person I interviewed last time was Dr. Tanya. She does the foot care at Michigan Bluff. So if you get your foot looked at, you'll have to tell her I said hi.
Usually my feet are good. That's usually the one
Yeah.
thing that's pretty good is the feet. So
Good.
hopefully not.
I'm knocking on wood for you.
Yeah, for real.
So you're training. So your coach has you doing anything differently? Is it pretty much just more of what you normally do, or does she have you doing like some really different stuff to get ready for it?
So right now we're still several weeks out, right? Like
From your training block?
yeah, from the real. Well, we're training. She's programming, but I finished Dinosaur Valley in December-ish, beginning of December.
Yep.
And then my wife, she went out to try to complete Brazos Bend 100K.
Yeah.
And I was going to pace her there, but that didn't work out, as they do. And I hadn't really been running, through the holidays because, I'll talk about with the book, but I was in such burnout getting the book out, marketing my own book, and training for these races. I just burned myself out completely, and I didn't want to do anything, including running. And then, we went up to Wisconsin. My wife's from Milwaukee, so we go up for the holidays.
Yeah.
And it's freezing. I ain't running out there. Forget that stuff. And then we come home. I live in Oklahoma, and it's been like 70 every day, so it's great. But right now we're just getting back to it, getting some miles in, type thing right now. And yeah, she says she's got some ideas, some things, and I'm definitely going to focus more on my strength than I have been before. And that's going to be huge for me, I think. And this year, I'll tell you the best news I received. I got an email in December from Western States. They send out a monthly email if you're participating. And I got an email, and I read the most glorious thing I ever read in my life, that they're going to allow polls this year.
Yes, polls.
And I am like, I'm a pole monster because I hiked the Appalachian Trail, right? And I got a damn PhD in hiking with poles, and I'm just like, because that was one thing that always concerned me with this race. Yeah. And because also I have if I don't use poles, even in a 50K, my hands will become balloons.
I have a friend. She has the same thing. Yeah. Like she has to.
I'm talking I could barely even bend my fingers.
Wow.
It don't hurt. It's just it's just so weird. And so if I don't use poles, that happens, and I'm really good with poles. So I'm so excited now. Awesome. That really is what got me really excited. Getting my coach, Megan, and the pole thing coming like 2 days after I first talked to Megan. Yeah. Came 2 days. And I'm just like, that's where I was like, I really kind of shifted. Like, I think I can really do this now.
You can do this. You totally can.
Yeah. So,
Love it. Hey, you brought up the book, Wes. Let's talk the book. So, how? Tell me about this. When do you get the idea to write a book? What's that process like? And it took a long time, right? Tell me the story of the book. When do you first get the idea to write a book? What inspires that?
So I've always liked writing, even since I was a kid, and when I was in the military in my early days, I did a lot of writing for like a local magazine, and I would cover local live shows and stuff, and go to all these, most of the time I was getting drunk, hanging out with my friends, and then write an article, right? Yeah. And I got to talk to some cool people too. I actually talked to like Green Day and all that stuff, and I liked writing. I liked talking about stuff, and so I was kind of a writer. I always wanted to write, and my influences are definitely like Hunter S. Thompson, right? I don't try to copy him anyway. I don't think that could be done properly, and it would be doing him a disservice. But and I love F. Scott Fitzgerald, and just, I've always been a huge reader, too. So, yeah, I'm like, okay, I've been doing this. I'm going to write the next great American novel. That's what I told myself. And so I had this idea. I can't talk about the idea too much because it's in the book.
Right.
Way different way. So I started the book in 2002 in Afghanistan, my first deployment to Afghanistan. The first of many.
While you're in Afghanistan, you start writing the book.
I start writing the book. In like paper notebook, right? Yeah. I still have the original notebook. I've used it in TikToks and on social media. I had the original notebook where I started to this day.
Wow.
It's one of the very few things I've kept through the years. Somehow magically, because when you do all these moves in the military, you do lose stuff. And just like it's one of those things that's magically kind of always showed up. And I have it. And so I started this story in 2002. And I was writing, right? And I had this great idea. And boom, boom, boom. I had these characters. I had a lot. But through the years, I stepped back from it, right? I quit. I would start again on occasion, right? And have some ideas. It was always there, okay? It was always there. But I never really, sat down on it, right?
Yeah.
I would go in phases, like I do a lot of things in my life. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's ADHD thing or what, or I get excited and a week straight I'll work on writing and all this, and then I'm just done with it. I don't play with you anymore. It's like you have a guitar, but it's behind my computer, and I've been trying to play guitar for Lord knows how many years, and I'm just, but yeah, so I put it down, and then I think once I kind of got sober, and it was when I got sober, and at least, and I had the notebook and I had all this stuff, and I sat down and I was starting to compile it all into a digital, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of it was handwritten.
Yeah.
And I started compiling it all into digital. That was kind of the first step, because I had another notebook I used for a little while, and I did have some digitally, so I kind of was like, okay, I'm gonna pull all this together. And then I sat down 3 years ago, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to finish this thing. I'm going to do it. And it took me about 6, 7, 8 months, and I got the rough draft done. And to be honest, that was more important to me than publishing.
Yeah.
The publishing, all that stuff was the icing, getting that rough draft down, getting it printed up from Kinko's and holding it in my hand, this rough draft. And I'm just like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy that I did this. And my rough draft, and I was so proud because, it was like, all rough drafts are rough, right? But at the same time, I knew what I held in my hands was a coherent story. That if somebody actually sat down and read it, there would be parts you'd be like, what is going on here? But you would still understand the story. And I'm like, wow, I did it, right? And to me, that will always be the best moment, was getting the rough draft. Yeah. And then I kind of went through the editing process with a friend of mine. I can't think enough. His name's Bart Hawkins. I met him in 1998 in Korea.
Okay.
He's a published author, and he also does, he's a big dean down at the University of Texas now. So for him to give me some time and help with the editing and the book cover and how you work on that. Because I gave him, if you open the book itself, you'll see on the first page like this different cover type thing. That was my concept art.
Okay.
And I had to put that in the book because I was so proud of it.
Yeah.
I am not an artist when it comes to graphics or drawing or anything.
Yeah.
But when I put that together, I was so damn proud of it. I was like, I got to put it in there. But he did the actual book cover. Wow. And that was probably my favorite thing about the whole dang book is that book cover. I love it. So, yeah. And then, I went the Amazon route. He helped me format it and everything and go through the editing process. And
tell me a little bit about the Amazon route and self-publishing, because like I said, a friend of mine and my wife, she also just recently published through Amazon a book. And I'm curious, Wes, how do you do that? Do you have the books printed up somewhere and ship them to Amazon? Do they print them?
No.
Well, how does that work? What's going on?
So when you publish through Amazon, right, they call it Kindle Direct Publishing, and you upload your manuscript.
Yeah.
Okay. And your cover file. And it has to be formatted a certain way. That's why I was saying Bart helped me a lot on getting those right. And then you can upload it for digital, like for Kindle, right?
Right.
And like mine is on Kindle. You can get it on Kindle, and it's also for everybody listening out there. You can read it for free if you have Kindle Unlimited, or it's only $3.99 digital. But it's so you upload on there, and then with the books themselves, my manuscript is uploaded. Now I can order like author copies at a discounted rate, right?
Yeah.
Which I did because I sold a lot of my sales where I sold them autographed copies with a hand note. Right?
Oh, okay. All right.
On like
Nice.
Facebook and Instagram and
Yeah,
everything, and so I would buy them, for the author price. I'd sign them and mail them out, and then so when you go on, you order it. I order it, right? It just comes from Amazon.
So they must print up and have a supply of these paperbacks.
I don't think they do. I don't. Probably not for my book, anyway.
I got
you for some books,
dude. I got your book in like 3 days.
Oh, really?
Oh God,
I don't
yeah.
know,
I
man.
ordered it, Wes, and the next day it was like, oh, it's at the distribution center. And I don't know if it was like in our city, but I was like, it was already. I'm like, oh, they must have printed copies or something.
Or maybe they got like a print and press close to you. It's hard to say. I don't know how they do it.
That is
But
crazy. It's very slick. I'm obviously going to have a link and encourage some of my friends and all my listeners to get a copy. I'm excited to read it. It's called Tumbling Dice. And I'm not going to give any of the plot away, but it has to do with your time over there, right? Where you started running it?
Well,
or not?
Okay, so Tumbling Dice came from the Rolling Stones song.
Oh, nice.
It
Yes.
was named after the Rolling Stones song. And I'm sure if you've looked through it, you will see that every chapter is set to a piece of music.
Lovely.
It's its own mixtape in there.
Wonderful.
From the 90s mostly,
Okay.
right? And you'll see a lot of songs that are in there, and you'll be like, he really likes this. It was more like a capsule of time, and I had a lot of fun with that. Because when I think of scenes, when I think of things, I see it in my mind eye, right?
Yeah.
And then I try to write it out. I always say, I think I'd be a much better screenwriter if I actually knew how to screenwrite than book writer.
Okay.
And I always set it to music in my head. And I always say, oh, yeah. That's, back to Stranger Things, they do a really great job of like pairing music with scenes.
Yes. Yes.
So that's kind of where I got that from. But the book is about, simply put, it's about what happens after the war and the battle still rages on in one's head, more or less, right? So many of us have come home from the physical war, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, several have lost the struggle with the internal battle after that, right?
Yeah.
And that's where it's from. This is one thing, if I went back and did it all again, I realized quickly that I should have used less. So it's a book of fiction, okay? Mm-hmm. But there's many parallels in my own life, right? And I should have used less because I get so many people that are like, I didn't know this. And I'm like, well, that's because it didn't really happen, man.
Yeah,
like,
it's fiction.
It's a book of fiction. There's a lot of things in there that, kind of came from my own life.
Sure.
And if you read it and you were a certain person, you would know that. But like a lot of stuff in there did not happen to me. It's not stolen valor.
Yeah.
That's the other big thing. You hear that bandied about a lot, and I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
So like things that happened to the main protagonist in the book did not happen to me.
Okay.
And they didn't happen in that way, right? There's just things that happened that did not happen to me. I want to make that very clear. There are a lot of parallels, and I have a lot of experience, with what I wrote. So they say, write what you know, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And maybe it was too close to home in some parts, I think, and some people got confused. And there's characters in the book that were people I knew in life, more or less.
Yeah.
And I wrote it, and I had a conversation with one not too long ago, and he was like a little bit confused at everything. And I'm like, no, man, this is 100% love and gratitude for you being in my life.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't about like I'm taking a shot at you. It's just a character. But a lot of the things, it's like I just want to, put this in there because you were so important to me in my life. If anything, there's so many like Easter eggs to my own life in it, and stuff, and like inside jokes that some people will read and get, and a lot of kind of stuff like that. And I wish I had dialed back some of that, especially in the beginning. I think I did it too much. But in the end, it's a complete book of fiction. It became a radically different book than what I started on in 2002.
Sure.
Because, of course, my life was a very radical,
Life
different
changes.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a lot of us will say, 9/11 changed literally everything in my life.
You
On
were
so many levels.
you were in the service when that happened, and
I sure was.
that's how you ended up in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah, sure was.
Yeah,
I
wow.
remember the day it happened, and everything that happened after, and I didn't leave work for like a week because we were preparing things and just,
Wow.
it was just an interesting time, and everything in my life was, after that point, was affected,
I can't imagine. Can't imagine.
So yeah, it's about that. It's fun. I think a lot of people find it funny because I write very different. I try to. One of my favorite things, I will say, I'm probably not always the best writer, right? But one thing I do when I went through the editing process and talk with people, one thing I always kind of never wanted to do was mess with the dialogue.
Yeah.
Because I love the dialogue that I wrote, and I made these people like real people, and I think it's kind of fun in that way. I really enjoy that. The characters you read, they're going to say stuff that it's PG-13 at best, but right.
Yeah. Well, that's life.
So,
Life is
but that's
PG-13.
reality, in the military, and there's a lot of things that happen or said, and and I really wanted to just kind of be like genuine there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my favorite part. But yeah, it's a story about what happens when we come home, and yeah, there's some things that happen, and it's an interesting look, and I think people learn a little bit. And for all those other folks out there, it isn't a war story because very little of the book takes place in actual war. To be honest.
Yeah.
It's more what happens after, and anybody can relate to a lot of the challenges that he goes through, and it's also a huge discussion between luck, fate, and destiny.
Nice. I'm excited to read it. I just think that's so cool that you wrote that. I can't imagine how you did that and published it. So, would you write another book, you think, Wes, or is this is it? Just one book, or you think in the future you might write another one?
I will be honest. At first, I said I was going to give myself a break, and then because I needed that, because the marketing, because I just released on Veterans Day, November 11th, and trying to market on yourself and do all this stuff and sign on and just do everything. I just got so burned out. To be honest, it's crazy because the day after it released, I didn't do any posting for a month. Yeah. About it. I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm like, if people want to buy it, they want to buy it. I don't give a shit anymore, right? I don't care. And I can't change that, right? I've gotten into a little bit more, and I'm doing more with the Amazon ad, but again, it's just, I really crush myself on that.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I have 4 ideas right now in my head.
Okay.
4 ideas with varying degrees of completeness. And,
Okay.
3 of which will be radical departures from this.
All right.
There will be very radical departures from this. And 2 of which I'm semi-serious about. One is I'm really kind of working at it a little bit now.
Yeah.
And the other one is so good, I just want to do it. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome.
But I don't want to put myself in this cycle of what I did. I look at this year as the year of Western states.
Yes. You need to
and
focus
for me to
on
complete
that, Wes.
Western states, I think I have to have that singular focus, right?
Right.
For me personally.
Yes.
Other people could do it. They can do stuff like that. I can't because I get burned out and tired of things. And so I'm being really relaxed at how I approach other books and other ideas and my Substack and all that. I'm if I feel like I'm not going to.
Awesome.
And same thing with social media. I went through a huge social media phase where I think I'm a creator now, and TikTok, Instagram, and everything. And I burned myself out on it, and now I'm just I'm going in this place where I would love to tell the story about preparing for Western states, but at the same time, preparing for Western states has to be the number one priority.
Yes, it does.
And it can't detract, and I can't do things that, detract from that.
I just thought of this. You can't spell Western States without W-E-S.
Well, West.
Come on.
Yeah, you can't spell America without Erica, right?
That's right. It all comes back to
That's really
Stranger
good.
Things.
I like that. I'm going to have to remember that, man. I'm going to have to remember that. I like that. Can I use that?
You absolutely can. Absolutely. So as we wrap up here, I have a few things I wrote down I was going to ask you that I like to ask. So dream race, is Western States your dream race, or is there another trail race that you were like, oh God, I got to do that one someday?
It depends on what you mean by dream. If it was like dream,
money's no object, training's no object. Just assume you can run it, you can do it. Money's not a problem. Okay. What's the dream race?
It would be Cocodona, just to see. I just don't think that's ever in the cards for me, because it might have been this year. Because it was so cool this year.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been this year, but I would have got frustrated with that mud, like nobody's business too. So
I'm a little nervous. My buddy Ben Mead, he helped another buddy, Tony, who was also he was a veteran in the armed services. He did it last year, and Ben helped him get through it. And yeah, it was just miserable. The name of that podcast was The Long Miserable Fun, because he was just like miserable the whole time. But he got it done. He finished before cutoffs.
Yeah. I truly believe I won't say that's a goal of mine. I do have an idea of doing a 200 one day, Southern States 200.
Okay.
Because it picks up where the Appalachian Trail ends, and it follows the Benton McKay down to the, what's it called in Alabama? I can't forget the trail.
I don't know the Alabama trails. Right?
So it goes down into Alabama, northern part, and so that would be more realistic. Pinhoti Trail, and that would be more realistic, I think, if I was to jump to the 200 or try it.
Got it.
Like Cocodona, I just don't think I'm that kind of man.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm going down to help him and pace and crew, but I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're doing. You're crazy. Okay, here's a question, and maybe you've answered this. Do you have a hobby outside of running that you like to do? I know I see you post stuff about vinyl, and you bring up music a lot. Is that your hobby, or what's your hobby outside of running?
Outside of running, it is, to a degree, writing, reading. I am a music person.
Yeah.
I'm primary. Of course, we all have our primary loves. My primary loves is punk and all genres of punk, and 90s alt and grunge. Right, that's what I grew up on.
Okay.
But I listened to just about everything. I grew up in that MTV generation, where we would watch MTV all damn day. Go from Yo MTV Raps to Alt Nation, 120 Minutes, Headbangers Ball. So like if it was a video, I would watch it. I don't care what kind of. I even when I got bored, switch over to CMT, Country Music Television, watch their videos, or VH1. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely one of those people that has like a very broad spectrum. And I worked at a high school radio station where we could only play 50s, 60s, and 70s. So I learned so much about 50s, 60s, and 70s music. And I do love music. I do buy vinyl. I'm not a big. I love buying vinyl. I'm not a big I'm looking for first prints only. Because some folks get wrapped up into that. Like I saw one the other day when we were up in Wisconsin. It was like a first printing of the Replacements record.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, but it was $90, and I'm just like, no. I love the Replacements. You should love the Replacements.
I do. They're my hometown guys. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I love another one of your hometown guys, Soul Asylum.
Oh yeah, he used to.
Yeah, so
he used to come into the restaurant with Winona when he was dating.
Really?
Yeah, because
cool.
I used to manage a Thai restaurant downtown Minneapolis, and he loved Thai food. He'd come in there all the time. So
I got to see him last year. It was really cool.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, I saw him with Julian and Hatfield opened. It was cool.
Okay, nice.
Crazy. I loved it.
Well, I've got my grunge shirt on for you. I've got my Foo Fighters shirt on for you. So.
Nice. I go to a lot of shows or concerts. I'm a sports junkie.
Yeah.
And I'm a dabbler. I will say I'm kind of a dabbler, kind of not. I got into comics late in life.
Oh, okay.
Like the past 5 years or
Yeah.
so. I tried them before, and then the MCU, and
Yeah.
kind of put more interest in it. But I'm very specific on what I read, so I'm not completely
Yeah.
a comic junkie. I'm very specific. I like the kind of the horror sides and the
Okay.
darker sides of Marvel and stuff like that, and other things. I love Werewolf by Night and the Tomb of Dracula and
Okay.
Blade, and
Okay.
and I'm a huge Daredevil fan.
Yeah.
Thanks to the show, the show
Oh.
came first for me. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Show was
thanks to
so
Charlie
great.
Cox.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's wonderful.
The original Netflix series,
Yeah.
that hooked me, man. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
And
It was very
that
dark.
kind
It
of
was
stuff.
very different, very real. It wasn't your typical superhero.
And I
show.
love Jessica Jones too, that
Yeah.
series. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so I do that, and I try to play guitar, man. I've been trying to do this for years. I have a hard time staying consistent with it, and I got
These
me a
are
drum
so
pad,
dusty, Wes. I gotta get back at the guitar too. I gotta get back.
and I just got me a drum pad, drumsticks. I've been messing
Nice.
with that a lot lately.
Nice.
Um,
Love it.
But so trying to my guitar is all I'm trying to do really is play power chords, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the music I listen to.
That's.
I'd love to be able to play something else, but it does not come easy to me. It's one of those things that I just struggle mightily with, and I'm not always consistent enough. And
It's like anything.
But yeah.
You gotta practice. Yeah.
yep. And
Last thing,
Yeah.
Wes. Last thing, and I like to ask people because we all love gear, right? We all love talking
Yep.
about what shoes you're wearing. What do you?
oh yeah, I should say shoe collecting is a hobby of mine.
Okay,
Not just
so
running shoes,
that
but
leads me
I'm
to
a
this.
Jordan
What is-
Kobe collector?
Yeah. My buddy Jason just sent me a pic tonight. He actually works at a running store. He's like, is it
Oh, yeah?
is it bad when you start labeling them? And he showed me this bookcase. It's filled with shoes. So,
Yeah.
give me 5 pieces of gear that you love to have when you go for a run, for either just out in the woods or a trail race or whatever. And it can be anything from shoes or vests or earbuds or what's something 5 pieces of gear you need to have to really feel good on a run. It could be nutrition related too. Heck, it could be your dog.
My AirPods.
AirPods.
My
That's
AirPods.
one. Okay.
Yeah, that's number one. I'm a music person.
Got it.
So I rarely run without them.
Okay.
So that's number one. And to be fair, when I start races, I start with my shocks in because there's so many people around.
Yep.
I don't. I'm such an audiophile. I can't stay with the shocks because of the sound quality.
Yep.
It just isn't it
Yep.
for me.
Yep.
Sorry, shocks, but
That's all right.
Yeah. So the AirPods is a big. I love my AirPods.
Yeah.
I always have a bandana.
Okay.
Always bandana to blow my nose, wipe sweat,
Yep.
whatever.
Nice.
Always a bandana. That's big. I'll give a shout out to a company, Belega Socks.
Oh yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Best socks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Love 'em.
that's my favorite socks.
Are you what length are
worn
you?
them
Are you
nothing
like
but-
ankle, crew, calf length?
I'm a
What-
crew.
Crew? Yeah.
Crew. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Generally, I like to be a crew. Yeah,
Cool. All right.
definitely not ankle,
Yeah.
but yeah, the crew or the little shorter ones are okay. But yeah,
Yeah.
preferably the crew, and I like the thick ones.
Yeah.
Even though my feet sweat a lot, I just like them. Another piece of gear that I ran in the same kind of short for years, and they've been getting harder to find, and I don't know why, but there's a certain short that Lululemon makes
Oh, okay.
that has always been my go-to short. I don't think I've worn anything else in years.
Okay. Huh.
It's got the liner in it.
Yeah.
It's got but it's not a true spandex liner. It's lighter.
Okay.
And it's got the foam sleeve on either side.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, so
Nice.
and for me and it's got hand pockets too, so it's that's my perfect short, right? And
Yeah.
I've yet to find anybody else that makes it.
Yeah.
And well, if they do, I will say I one day I'm going to make this TikTok about men's shorts and tights.
Yeah.
Because and where they place the seams, because they always put them right in the middle, and it does not work, people.
No, it's
it's
not.
not that hard to figure
It's
out.
not a good choice. It's not a good look.
It's not.
That's
but yeah,
that's four,
That's four?
Wes. You got one more. Shoes? I don't know if you got a specific shoe you like, or watch, or sunglasses, hat. Oh, you said bandana,
I
but
could do.
what's one more?
I run in so many shoes. I do have my favorites, but I do switch shoes a lot. So
Yeah,
I got some favorites, but I'm going to go with my watch.
nice. What kind of
I have
watch?
the original Garmin Enduro.
Okay.
This thing's crazy. I finished on a 100-miler in like 29 hours. I turned off my watch. I still had like 69% battery.
Wow.
Yeah, this thing is crazy.
Nice.
The battery on it is insane. But the Garmin Enduro, I think they're on number 3 or 4 down now. They look cool. They got a little light, a
Yeah.
little flashlight and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Awesome. Great.
yeah, it was expensive, but it was,
Oh.
if you want to, it's worth it.
Watches are crazy expensive.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it.
I've had this one for quite a while too. So, and I've always had a Garmin dating back to my military time. So
Yeah.
I've just progressed in Garmin. So now I can't, and all my data is in Garmin from back to 20, in the 2010 or whatever, when I got that first big chunky one.
Yeah.
And so like I can't jump to Koros or anything.
Well,
It's like being a Mac person. I'm also
I
an Apple
know.
and Mac person.
Yeah.
So I can't switch to Windows.
my wife's a Mac person. I'm a PC person, but
Yeah,
everybody's
my
got their
wife's
preference.
an Android person, and I'm just like,
No, I did switch to iPhone, so I'm there with her on that. So, all right, Wes, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much. I'm gonna be watching for you at Western States, and congratulations on your book. And
Tumbling Dice on Amazon.
yes,
Let's go.
Yes,
Go check it out.
I will have a link
Or
to
don't.
all of that, and just congratulations on everything. It's super nice
Yeah,
meeting you.
thank you, and thank you for your time, man. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
I know I'm not as cool as some of your other guests for sure.
dude,
What is his name? That episode was so amazing.
Tim Tollefson, which one? Or
The
Alex
gentleman
Baker?
who lost his wife.
Alex Baker. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is. You should connect with him on Instagram. He's a great guy, and that was a hard episode to get through. I can't imagine he talks. He does a lot of podcasts and talks about it a lot, it's incredible.
He just, like, to be honest, I started to tune out. No offense, when you got to the running part.
Yeah.
I'm out because I was listening to it while on a run myself, and I'm just like, I was starting to tune out then because of everything I've been through previous. It's just like, this is a really great story, and just.
For me, the running is just kind of a way to get things started, but really, I do
absolutely.
these to meet awesome people like you with, backgrounds who are dealing with things and just to get to know you a little better. So thanks for coming on. And
Thanks for your time, Joey. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thanks, Wes.
It's been fun.
Wes Cornett, you are one interesting, amazing, and accomplished individual. I am wishing the best for you, for your life, for the success of your first novel, and I will definitely be rooting for you at Western States this year. And hey, if you want to connect or follow Wes, I'll have links to his Instagram page and definitely a link on how to purchase his novel, Tumbling Dice, on Amazon. So that's it for this time. Until next time, cheers and take care. Keep running, keep walking, keep pushing forward. It takes persistence to finish things we start, whether that's a long trail race or our first novel. One page at a time, one step at a time. That is how we cross that finish line.